Hey Ross, well, my money makes money. 3 years ago, I did a video on LeMay's family collection. This is the largest car collection in the world. He's in a Guinness Book World Records. Now, he died back in 2004, anywhere from 2004 to 2008, and he made a lot of his money from being a garbage man. He's owned a garbage company here in Washington State, and a lot of the counties rely on LeMay to come pick up their garbage. But nonetheless, I did a video about 2 or 3 years ago on one of the largest car museums in the world, right here in Spanaway, Washington. And here are the hours, here's the sign for you to look at. But nonetheless, this is a hidden gem that not too many people know about. This is part 2 of that video 3 years ago, and hopefully I did better because I did less talking and asked more questions. And the whole entire time, I had a tour guide instead of me just reading signs.
Sets up in the gymnasium area. We got it moved because we're having a gun show up there this weekend.
A gun show?
Yeah, so a lot of these cars would normally set up there.
Well, so you guys move around cars all the time?
Oh yeah, oh absolutely.
Okay.
This car was a group of Shell engineers decided to see how much mileage they could get out of 1 gallon of gasoline. So they took an Opel station wagon and they cut the top off it, and they threw most of it away, and they put a plexiglass windshield in it, put part of the top back on. They took the motor out of the motor compartment and they put it back here. And then they put 4 hard rubber tires on it, really narrow, took the transmission out and discarded that. It's direct drive, chain drive, no differential in the rear end, no transmission. And then they got 376 miles out of 1 gallon of gasoline on a measured course.
167 miles.
376 miles on 1 gallon of gasoline.
Wow.
On a measured 1 mile course.
So they just stripped it down to the bare bones.
Absolutely, it is bare bones.
So basically we don't need leather.
And you don't need a 4-speed, and you don't need a rear end, and you don't need big tires. You just need them little tiny tires that have little or no friction on them because they're solid rubber. And it still holds the record today for the most mileage out of 1 gallon of gasoline. And that's the reason for this, so that they could measure it.
Oh, that's a condenser. Okay.
Yeah, and here was the statistics on it. This is one of those cars that comes to us with provenance. We try and buy a lot of cars, or a few cars, that have some kind of history with them. And this happens to be one of those. No one else has one.
I never knew that. Is this new? Is this actually new?
No, we've had this for several years now. One of the things that Doug LeMay does, he's the buyer and the youngest of the children that actually runs the museum here, he tries to buy those cars of interest. And to average person, that would look like a piece of junk. To Doug, that's a piece of American history.
Wow.
This is one that we just got in, probably within the last 12 months. Early Cadillac, 1937. As you can see, it looks a little tattered, but one of the things that we don't do is try and make everything look pretty. We are a automobile history museum. We're not just a pretty museum.
An automobile history museum.
Oh yeah. A lot of it is automobile history that you'll see here. Gas pumps, you'll see signage, those kind of issues.
So what are the interesting pieces that you have in this part of the museum?
One of the other ones would be this car right here. This is the this Mustang, new car, you know, fairly new car for us, 1968. A group of engineers in California wanted to see if they could make this car run on hydrogen. And so they bought this, 1968, and they converted it to operate on hydrogen. And the reason we've got the hood up on it to show you that they didn't change much as far as the engine goes. But what they did change, because hydrogen has, it's volatile. If you look at it wrong, it might explode.
Exactly.
So they took out all the driving components. The steering wheel's gone, the shifter is gone, the seats are gone, and it has a row of servos underneath there, just the same as a model airplane would.
Okay.
And they operate it from afar.
So it's a huge remote control car.
Oh, that's basically what you got. And when they decided to dispose of it, then Mr. LeMay was able to buy it. Well, this is what your family car was in 1952. Little four-door sedan, 235 cubic inches, got good gas mileage. Mom and Dad could go about any place in it, put the kids in the back, and away they went.
So how many people can fit in there? 5, 6?
Probably 5, maybe 6, because you could put 3 people in the front seat.
Was it adequate leg room?
Yeah, they're very comfortable.
Even for a big guy like myself?
Well, you would sit in the back seat with your 2 sisters.
Okay.
They were a little smaller.
I understand. Now, out of all the cars that's in this museum, I mean, what's the total number of cars you think you guys have?
Well, I would imagine if you looked at all of our storage facilities, we have other storage facilities in this county.
Yeah, you have another one in Tacoma, correct?
That's not ours. That's a museum that the LeMay family started, and then they turned it over to a private corporation.
Ah.
So they have a lot of beautiful cars on there, about 250 cars, beautiful cars, but they're a little bit more into refined automobiles. We're into historical automobiles here.
I understand.
And in our total collection, the total family collection, the LeMay family collection, I would say we have about 2,500. Guinness Book of World Records says and this is in their record book, we are the largest individual collection in the world.
Wow.
Right here in
the Guinness Book of World Records,
yep.
You're the largest
personal collection in the world.
Personal collection in the world.
Right.
Okay. Huh.
Which is quite a and they did come through and count every car, put a tag on it, and did everything. They had to verify it. That's your ever-loving Etzel, the car that didn't work out for Ford.
Oh, what was wrong with this particular vehicle?
Well, they made this in 58, 59, and 60, and then tried to start up their own dealerships, and they found out that it wasn't working for them. They were losing too much money. So Ford discontinued this in 1960. So these were only made 3 years, 58, 59, and 60.
And it was just, what was the stink, the issue with that?
People wouldn't buy them. First off, they looked kind of ugly. They had this ugly grill in them. And
I would say that it's unique.
Well, there were a lot of comments that came from this grill. Okay. Let's put it that way. This is a car that's no longer manufactured, a Hupmobile. This was a donated automobile. A family could no longer take care of it. It had been, their grandfather had it restored and used it and drives it. And they donated it to the museum here, and we will keep it forever.
Wow.
We do not dispose of a donated automobile for any reason.
So I see, is that the British flag, American? Is that Finland or Switzerland?
This one here, I think is Norwegian. It might
Norwegian?
be. It might be Norwegian.
I'm in the area.
Okay. Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Okay. And this is still running. This actually still runs.
Yeah.
Wow. But they won't sell any cars. They don't really sell
We don't sell anything, and we certainly would never sell a donated automobile. We will not do that.
You would not sell a donated automobile?
No.
Okay.
No, Doug will not do that. Doug or Nancy, Mrs. LeMay.
They still hold the last name LeMay?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Because we're still owned by the LeMay family, and Mrs. LeMay, Nancy, is here periodically. Doug is here today. So.
And you are a volunteer, so you don't even get paid. This is just a joy.
No, this is the pleasure. pleasure of being around the automobiles, I guess, and I like the family. Everybody, they treat everybody here like they are family.
I love it.
All the docents here are family.
Wow.
And there's many
What's
docents.
your youngest? What you call it, docent?
Docent.
Docent.
Docent just means a professional curator.
Okay. What's the youngest one?
The youngest is probably in their 60s, probably.
Wow.
Twice your age.
Yes. So I'm the guy that just reads signs.
There you go.
You actually know the car.
Yeah. That's a Brickland. That was made in Canada. And that was one of the few cars that used a plastic body. A group of engineers in Canada built it, and it had a Ford motor and an AMC pan underneath of it. That was the basis, and then the body was plastic. And this was one of the...
body is actually plastic, not fiberglass?
It's not fiberglass, it's plastic. This was one of the first cars that had to have a compression type of bumper to get into the United States. Unfortunately, they only made it just a couple of years, and then they went out of business.
What is up with this extra bumper right here?
Well, this, when you hit something, it compresses and reduces the amount of impact to the people in the car. That's if you hit something you're not supposed to.
I understand. Okay.
In a collision. Washington donated this.
With this little racer here?
Yeah, that was one of the cars that was an experimental car for them. And when they were done with it, why, we ended up with it. And if you're a Husky, you just put your hand over your heart when you walk by it.
Was this ever raced before?
That I can't tell you, but I would certainly believe it was, because it's got slicks on it all the way around. And that tells me it was a roundy-round car at one time. A few of the older bicycles, we collect bicycles too. We like bicycles and motorcycles. Really? Oh yeah.
But vintage?
Oh, absolutely. Just like this one right here, that was a package delivery service. You could get your groceries or your whatever delivered with this particular bike. That's what the carrier on the front was for.
This carrier right here.
Yeah, and got a little sign on the side of it here. Kind of unique.
This definitely look like a grocery car here.
Well, this right here, most people look at that and think it's a horse-drawn carriage, but it's really not. It was made by Sears, Sears and Roebuck Company.
Was this electric?
No, it's got a little one-cylinder motor underneath there. It's chain drive. And that's back in the days before they had a steering wheel also. So they used a tiller like a boat has in it. Oh, that's a toy that we have.
Oh, okay. Is this parked there?
Yeah, it's a golf cart.
Now, this is a beautiful car.
Yeah, that was...
Okay.
Oh yeah, 1987. That's really new for us. That again was a donated automobile here about 6 months ago. Much as it looks like a Mercedes, it's got a Mercedes body, but underneath it was built. They needed it to go 100 miles an hour. So they took and they put a Jaguar frame and motor and whatnot in it so that it was safe. But it looks like a Mercedes, but it's really not a true Mercedes.
Because it has a Jaguar engine.
A Jaguar engine and running gear. The depiction right here came from the movie.
That is a beautiful car. I mean, they can clean it up a little bit, but you probably don't want to mess it up.
No, no, we don't.
Now, this is a newer car. Okay, that's not impressive. A 92 Pontiac.
Right. That's new stuff for us. But again, a donated automobile. You know, the thing about new cars, one of these days they'll be old cars.
So if you keep them long enough.
That's absolutely right.
I get that. I totally get that.
You know, the thing that irritates me a little bit is that car will be around when I'm not.
Well, you know, don't know how long you're gonna live.
Well, not long enough to make that car old. Now, that's a street rod, actually, or a custom car. It actually started life as a 1955 Chevrolet Nomad station wagon. And a bodywork guy down in California who was pretty creative took and cut the top off it, and he put an Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser top on it. That's the reason you see this glass in it.
The glass up here?
Oh, yeah.
So it's almost like today's panoramic roof.
Yes, very much.
That's sitting really low.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful car. Put a big block Chevrolet in it. It's called the Play Bunny car.
I mean, some of these cars need to be on the road. Like, people need to see these cars. These are beautiful cars.
We do normally have this up there in the gymnasium.
Oh, in the main showroom?
Sure. It is pretty, and we've had it at several car shows.
Now, when I came here 2 or 3 years ago, this is the car that I showed on my video.
Oh, the 80.
The picture, because this car, it just stands out more than any other car I saw.
It's a 83 Duesenberg.
What is it again?
1983 Duesenberg.
Duesenberg, German car.
It originally was. Now, this is a remake of the original 34J Duesenberg.
Okay.
This car is made out of fiberglass. Now the original, even when this car was new back in 1983, even it being a replica, it was almost $250,000.
$250,000, so who knows the worth of it right now?
I don't really know.
Huh.
I do not know. But I would imagine it's substantially more.
Substantially, yes. And what makes this car so special?
Well,
other than the look of it.
Duesenbergs were only manufactured up to 1938, but this is a 34J, or a copy of a 34J Duesenberg, made by the Duesenberg Corporation. Even though they were out of business, a group of investors got permission to remake it. And it is almost an identical replica on the outside of the original 1934 Duesenberg.
Wow.
Beautiful car.
Definitely is. I mean, this is the design of these pipes right here.
Oh yeah.
What's the size of the engine? V12, V8, V10?
This one here, let me see. I can't tell you what size. Duesenbergs are usually a 6-cylinder supercharged motor. Now this one here, because it's a replica, has a Ford running gear underneath of it and a Ford motor.
Yeah, that's a beautiful car. Look at the, is that a, what you call them, up-armored vehicle for like carry money in the background there?
Oh, this one here, that started life as a car that would deliver, you know, money. Armored car.
Okay. As
an armored car. And then when they used it up, then a Carnival kind of group bought it, and they paid Jesse James. Remember Jesse James from television? Okay. They paid him to do all the graphics on it. And that's what you see. And then the back portion of it right there, that looks kind of blue, that was where you could put water in it. And this went to a Carnival. And then you got 3 balls for $1. And you got a chance to try and hit that X there. If you hit that X, then that gal that was sitting up in the chair up above got a bath.
Ah, so it's more like a carnival.
That's exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Nice. 1986 International Griffin armored car.
Yeah.
Custom dunk tank.
Yeah. It's unique. But again, that's another one of those cars that has some provenance with it. Beautiful 1956 convertible. Oh yeah. Beautiful car. Ever popular today.
I'm pretty sure there's some still on the road as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, this one's a driver. It can be driven. This car cost $2,300 when it was brand new.
$2,300.
$2,300. Today, this car is probably $70,000. So if you kept it in your garage, nice and clean, why, you got better than interest on it.
Ah, the infamous.
That's a Bentley here.
Oh, yeah.
This is a Bentley. This over here is an Austin Princess. Both of them made in England. Both of them steered on the right-hand side.
The only cars that England got right. No, I'm kidding. Was this a competitor of Bentley at one point?
Yes, it was. And if you look at them real close, you would say somebody is just kind of copying somebody else's design here.
You know what? You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, I think they...
I can see that now. They're almost identical, except that got a crown.
Yeah, the general appearance of them is very much the same. Bentley, they used to refer to a Bentley as a baby Rolls. They were kind of the... If you couldn't afford a Rolls Royce, you could maybe afford a Bentley. Bentley's still made today.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Bentley is still in...
I just can't afford them.
You can't? Why not?
I don't have good type of money.
Well, hopefully you've got your house paid for or whatever, and your car isn't brand new. And your wife doesn't have a bad spending habit.
Oh, why it has to be the wife? It could be the guy. You know, we love gadgets.
Yeah, well, the guy doesn't come around buying any of these fancy cars. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I've been married for 34 years. Absolutely.
You know, a lot of people talk about these vehicles right here, the Studebaker, which makes this one, other than the color of it, unique.
Well, it's called a President. And then they started doing tricolors on these, pink, gray, and white. This was their attempt to get back in the market, compete with General Motors and Ford. Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Is this an exhaust port? Or?
No, that's just a fresh air port.
Fresh air port?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But these were,
I don't know nothing about these cars.
These were the upper limit of Studebaker. Studebaker went out of business in 1964.
Why did they go out of business? Don't say Ford again.
Well, General Motors and Ford were so competitive, and Studebaker couldn't be competitive through those years, so they went out of business. They had been bought by Packard back in 1954. Packard actually bought Studebaker. He's going to lunch.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, he's fixing them up, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go get him real quick.
That's our Model T guy.
Model T.
That's all he does is fix them. Him and Eddie. He'll just drive it up to the next building. That's where they have lunch for these guys. It's just steaming out the radiator just like it's supposed to.
Now, what is this contraption? Is this a...
This is a 1954 Packard, but the Packard company doesn't make anything from here back. They send it down to a coachworks, and they will convert it into a flower car for funerals.
That's what I thought this was.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's got a place in it for the casket, and then on the top you can put your flowers up there. It's called a henny.
A henny?
A henny. Not a rooster, a henny.
Not like Hennessy. Oh, never mind. Look at you. You're thinking about when you get off. I see it. And how big is the inside of it? How many feet do you know?
I can tell you right now, we just measured it this morning. The wheelbase on it is 162 inches, and overall it is 19 foot and 5 inches.
Wow. Now that is a heavy car.
That is a big car.
Because all of that looks like metal.
It is. It is.
And I don't mean like aluminum, I mean like metal.
It is metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's stainless steel on the top.
Stainless steel, and I was going to say that.
We have a program out here where we teach people how to drive a Model T. And during the summer months, between May and October, people come out on Saturday and they...
Our Model T is difficult to drive? Is that why?
Oh yeah, because it doesn't have a clutch. It has 3 pedals in it, but not a clutch.
Do you have to pay for that course?
I think it's $50.
That's not bad. How long do you get to drive it?
I think it probably takes about 3 hours.
And you're driving?
And we stay at around, because we own 87 acres here, so they've got a course where they learn how to drive it here. And what they do here, the fellow that just left, he makes sure that they all run correctly. So he's rebuilding the motors in them and keeping them tuned up and everything else.
Okay.
And that's all he does. Both of those guys work on these Model T motors.
And he loves it.
Oh, he does.
What is this vehicle up here? This white?
Which one?
This one right here?
Oh, that's a Powell pickup. It was built between 1955 and 1957 by a group in California. And what they did, they took an old Plymouth, and that's what they rebuilt the chassis on it, and then they made a fiberglass front end on it and a fiberglass back end, and they sold it for a pickup costing less than $1,000.
Powell pickup.
Powell. Kind of rare, kind of rare. Most people have never seen one. This is, this.
Okay, so this is the trash can. I know LeMay is in trash now.
Yeah.
Is this saying that this car's
This
trash?
is, no. This is a 1976 International truck. And it was original, or white truck, excuse me. And it was originally one of the garbage trucks that had to make a living. And when they got through with it, why, the restoration shop restored it to make it look halfway decent. However, there's a story that Mr. LeMay, when he went to pick up this truck back east, was coming back home, and he ran into this automobile, this 1914 Chevrolet that was for sale. So rather than pay a transporter to come to bring it home, he put it in his garbage truck and drove it home. So when we restored the garbage truck, then we located our 1914 Chevrolet and we put it back in here just like when Harold brought it home.
Very, very unique.
Yes, it is. Indeed. This is Truck Row here, Mr. LeMay. Yeah, he liked trucks.
Now, when did LeMay, how old was he when he passed away?
I think he was probably mid-80s.
Mid-80s?
Yeah.
Did you know how he passed?
I believe he had a heart condition.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what year was that, do you know?
I think it was probably about 2000, maybe 2004.
Okay. Okay.
Hard-working fella. Hard work, worked every day of his life.
I mean, if you just look down Truck Row here, that's how it worked.
Well, he started in 1946 with one truck.
But how did he become wealthy in order to do all of this? Like, what?
He worked hard.
Okay.
Garbage. All of it was garbage.
Oh, so that's what he started off doing?
Sure. 1946, he was just taking people over to Bremerton Navy Yard in a flatbed truck, or 2 trucks that he had, and they were working at Bremerton, and he'd bring them back to Tacoma. And then later on, he decided to get into the garbage business, city of Tacoma.
Okay.
So he went ahead and that's what began LeMay Garbage Service. And then he was able to...
Now he serves this whole area, I believe.
Oh, yeah. But originally it was the city of Tacoma, and then he was able to get involved with Pierce County.
Okay.
And then later Thurston County, Mason County,
Okay.
Kitsap County, and then Grays Harbor County.
So he's in all those current counties right
Yes. Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he worked hard all of his life.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yeah. Yeah, this did not come easy. Did not come easy.
I would definitely say being a trash man is hard work. I remember the days where the trash men used to hang on to the back of it.
Well, again, these trucks early, when Harold first had them, that's what they were. They grabbed the can, they dumped it in the back of the truck, and set the can back down and went to the next house.
But now,
was not a pretty business.
garbage men don't even get out the truck.
No. Oh, this one here, you wouldn't get out of this one.
Okay, yeah, that's
It's got an apparatus on the side, pick up the garbage can, dumps it over, and then it compacts it.
Compacts it, yep.
So they can haul a little bit more.
I'm glad he didn't accidentally compact that vehicle in the back.
We're really glad. Oh, yeah.
1901.
Oh, this is a replica. We don't have very many replicas, but a fellow brought this in here and said, I believe this is what a 1901 Oldsmobile would look like. And so that's pretty
This is
close.
a livery truck right here, this international one right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's been refurbished.
Okay. Donated by Ben and Richard Russ.
Yep.
1928 Chevy truck.
Yep.
4 cylinders.
Yeah.
I won't say it's a beautiful car. But functional.
Well, it was a work truck. Most trucks were not beautiful.
Now this vehicle right here has history.
Yes, it does. First off, not very many people know that Nash made a truck. And they also made a wrecker. And this wrecker was used by a dealership because they sold the records to dealerships.
What was Nash known for?
Cars.
Cars, okay, not
Cars.
trucks. I got it, okay.
But Nash Trucks. This was owned by the town of Ruston. You know where Ruston is? Over right next to Tacoma.
Yes.
This was their fire truck. Well, that's a 1947. That was a pretty modern fire truck in 1947.
With the lights and...
Yes.
Okay.
And then they used it, and then the water department took it over so they could test meters with it. And then it went up for auction, and Mr. LeMay bought it because it has local history. Yeah, these were all working men's.
So did he like trucks over vehicles?
I think he liked them all.
Really?
Somebody asked him one time, what's your favorite vehicle? And he told them, the one I'm driving.
I understand that.
When you have this many, it's pretty hard to find one. That's just another garbage truck in there. This is just some ramps.
Oh, okay.
We use this for loading cars.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's a beautiful 1942 International. What makes it a bit unique, that one and this one, it was built during World War II. So it probably had something to do with supporting the war effort. Either a factory or maybe a farmer or something like that.
Transporting things.
Yes. Because they weren't making any new cars then. They were all went to the war effort. 1940 Dodge military truck. Big and ugly.
Big and ugly, with a winch on it.
But reliable. Really ugly.
So this must be another form of a fire truck with a ladder?
This one here is a 1923 American LaFrance.
LaFrance?
LaFrance. Now, LaFrance makes fire trucks today. They still do.
Wow.
American LaFrance. And this one here was licensed in Pennsylvania. There are 60 feet of wooden ladders on this truck. Now, these ladders go up in the air. I don't think I'd want to be on them, but
It looks safe.
a wooden ladder up against the fire, I don't think is the best thing in the world.
It's probably pressure treated. No, I don't know if that helps. We know fire burns.
Well, it was better than aluminum because aluminum would conduct electricity if you got into a power line or something.
Now, this truck right here, this Mack truck, people still use the term Mack truck.
Yeah, they're still manufactured today.
Okay.
Yeah, Mack Brothers.
And what is that on the back of it? Is that
Well, that's a replica of a tank.
Okay.
That was built by a fellow that has too much time on his hands, I
I see that
believe.
it's made out of wood. Okay.
Yes, it's made of wood and fiberglass. It's got a little Subaru motor in it, so you can run it in a parade.
Yeah, he has some time on his hands.
Too much.
But he's creative.
Oh, yes.
La France.
Yeah, American LaFrance.
Now, is this made in America or France?
Yes, no, it was made in, usually we put, and this was Perry, IA, that's where it was worked at, fire department, 1926. This is another fire truck here that I think a carnival had bought it because it's got a lot of little doodads on it that really aren't appropriate for a fire department. But it's called a Hahn.
A Hahn. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, 4-letter word. But it's pretty original. Pretty original. This, we believe, was probably a snowplow.
A snowplow?
Yeah, it's a 1931. FWD stands for four-wheel drive.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah. And this vehicle does not have power steering on it. So as you can see by the size of the steering wheel, probably the fellow that operated it was one step short of being a gorilla. Because that's a big wooden steering wheel. Yeah. 1934 bus, Ford bus. Well, that was not a school bus, even though it looks like it's painted school bus colors. This was used in a national park as a tour bus.
People around the park?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, they like fire trucks. These are Rios. Both of these were, this one and this one were both used in filming. Rio stands for Ransom E. Oldsmobile.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Ransom E. Oldsmobile.
Ransom E. Oldsmobile.
When Mr. Ransom or Mr. Oldsmobile sold Oldsmobile to Bill Durant, who started General Motors, that was one of the 4 companies that he bought. The deal was that, well, you can't make any more Oldsmobile cars. And he said, fine. But he went on to make some Rio cars. And he made those for about 10 years, and then he dropped the Rio car line and made trucks up through the 1960s, Rio trucks. And this one were both used in filming. They were bought from a filming company in California at an auction.
Cracking good walnuts.
Well, the unique part of these is that the advertisement on that side, the front, and the other side are all different. So if you saw the truck going east to west, it read one thing. If you saw it going from west to east, it read something else. Or if you saw it coming towards you, it read something else. So it actually served a multitude of purposes.
But you want to probably drive it on a sunny day with the no door?
Well, they were made for the hardy back then. Air conditioning. Yes, even on a rainy day.
Ice cream truck right here?
Which one? This one here? It's a 1938 Studebaker, and it was originally used. It was originally used as a bakery truck, delivering bakery goods.
Okay.
Later on, it went through 2-3 hands, and then it was used in the movie. Robin Williams was in the movie Toys.
Toys, okay.
And this is the vehicle that was used in Toys.
1926 Star.
Yeah, they weren't made for too many years. Very reliable, good. Now, hopefully you haven't spent a night in the back of this vehicle. This is a 1940 Chevrolet paddy wagon. It was originally owned by Los Angeles Police Department. And then they used it. And then later on, it was sold to a movie company. And they used it, and they beat the tar out of it. And then Mr. LeMay was able to buy it at an auction. And he ran it through our own restoration shop, and they restored it.
It looks uncomfortable.
So, yes. And this is what it looked like when the restoration shop got it. And he wanted it restored, so they restored it completely like its original condition. And we still use it on public displays.
Oh, I thought you mean you still give it to the police to lock up people. Okay.
We feel like it sometimes. It's a nice vehicle to drive. Not very fast, about 45 miles an hour on the freeway.
Now you're speaking my language.
Now, this is actually a kit car. You bought this body and whatnot in a magazine.
You gotta put it together?
And you put it on your Volkswagen or your Corvair, and that's what you drove out of the garage with Monday morning.
This looks like a what's the name of those vehicles? Not Bugattis. Starts with an M. I'm horrible with cars. That's why I'm here. I don't know. I forgot the name of it. It has that front end though. It starts with an M, I believe. It looks similar to this front end.
Well, this is supposed to look like a 917 Porsche.
Really?
That's the body style on a 917 Porsche.
1973.
Right. You're thinking of a Maserati, probably.
No, not a Maserati. It's a race car, but it starts with an M, I believe. You said Maserati, but it's not a Maserati. Though.
Okay.
It's another vehicle. And this vehicle lays. Why does it have a back seat? No one can fit back there.
Well, it looks good though. It's very difficult to get out of. It's easy to get into. It's very difficult because you can't put your leg over the side and on the pavement unless you got real long legs.
You have to climb out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
You kind of roll out.
You know how much this vehicle at the time cost?
Oh, they were only about $10,000 to buy the body. It was very.
It came. You said a kit car. I mean, did you have to put it?
It came just as a body, and you usually you put it on a chassis that you already had, like a Volkswagen, or if you had a small Ford or something like that, you could place it on that.
I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Or a Corvair.
It's a shell, and you just place the shell.
That's it. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
These are both World War I trucks. This one's been restored, this one hasn't. That's a 1918 Liberty. Both of them are. Made by the federal government, by the Army.
You can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Pieces here.
Yeah, they're a quartermaster, made by the Quartermaster Corps for the Army. Very rare. We used this one last year to celebrate the 100th ending of World War I. World War I has been over for 100 years now. And when we had our open house, we used these as examples of.
Because I know every year in Stillicum,
yeah.
You guys are a part of that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, have you ever driven one in a parade? Or?
The one I've driven in the parade has been the police vehicle.
Ah. Loud, ride rough.
Yes, no air conditioning. But it's original.
Does the light still work up there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So these vehicles periodically do move around?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Remember that gas station on the sun?
Now, this is a 200-mile-an-hour real Indianapolis car.
And this was donated as well? Or
no, they purchased this. I believe Mr. LeMay, young Mr. LeMay bought this.
Well, just looking from the inside here.
No, you can't get in it.
No, I can't.
If you do, you can't get out.
Oh, I won't be able to get in there. I can tell you that.
Most of the people that drive these are very small.
Yes.
Very small.
Like jockeys on horses.
Yeah, very much the same. Oh, they really do, but you're going to see here in a little bit where they're not very new. The concept is good. It's an 86 replica of a 1886 Mercedes-Benz, or a Benz, which is
this first vehicle here?
Single cylinder. Again, no steering wheel, just the beginning of being able to steer a vehicle through with a tiller.
Which is that handle up there?
Sure. Probably didn't go very fast, maybe 6 miles an hour, 7 miles an hour. We don't deal in replicas most generally. This is a replica because you're not going to find an original one. This is what an early Oldsmobile would probably look like. Again, it's a replica. It's not a real one.
Okay.
But it's very, very close.
I mean, it's real. But it's not
oh,
real.
Yeah. Right. Early.
That's a pretty looking car.
Yeah, that's a Model N Ford. That's one of Henry's earliest ones, 1906. Still steered on the right-hand side, not the left-hand side.
Right-hand side. So
Right-hand. All the early cars were either center steering or right-hand steering. Perhaps.
There's some countries like the British, the Japanese, they drive on the right-hand side, so they got that
Right.
from us.
I have an idea that that's where it came from.
And so why did we switch? Do you know?
Well, I think because we went to 2-lane roads,
Okay.
And you wouldn't have to pull out so far into the opposing lane to pass a horse and buggy or another car.
Oh.
And you'll see a lot of brass. Brass was cheap back then, and it was very malleable. And chrome hadn't been invented. The chrome process was not invented until 1921.
1921.
1921. Now you'll see some...
Chrome is still expensive.
What's that? Yeah.
Chrome is still expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once in a while you would see something that was shiny, but it was most generally stainless steel that was polished. But most everything was brass. This is a 1907 Pierce Arrow. Beautiful car. Very large. They made the tires real tall because roads weren't very good back then.
Look at those lights.
Oh yeah. Those were carbide. And what they did, they had carbide in the bottom of them, and then they poured water in it, and when you add...
When you say carbide, what is that?
Well, it's crushed up rock, so to speak.
Okay.
Carbide. And then you add water to it, and it makes gas. And then they would light that little fuse right there, and that was a light. That was a running light and a headlight.
How efficient was that, though?
Well, somebody could see you coming. That was about it.
Okay, okay. Oh, look at those couch seats.
Well, this was a family model, I think.
And it's the right side again. Okay.
A right side again, a no chrome, and very expensive. This wasn't something that the average family could support.
What do you think the running price on that was?
Well, I think we might have that one written. We try and look up the prices on as much as possible. Yeah, $6,500 to $7,000 in 1907.
That's a lot of money.
Oh, that was probably 15 years of wages.
Wow.
1907, chances are though.
But it advertises a family car.
Oh yeah.
But a rich family car.
Absolutely. Somebody like, well, I don't know, somebody who owned a railroad or something could have it.
1907 Locomobile Model E.
Right, that was a locomobile. It was made by a locomotive company. And this is the first gas model here. Before that, it was steam powered.
Wow.
Again, still steered on the right-hand side, lots of brass, lots of spare tires, because as you went down the roadway, you were in the same path that horses were in. And so the horseshoes were held on by nails. So every once in a while a nail would come out and you could pick it up in your tire. So you could change Les Schwab wasn't around then, so you change your own tire.
But how hard it was to change one of these tires?
Well,
I mean, you got brass, metal.
Well, you got the jack out and you jacked it up and you took the darn thing off and unscrewed all those little deer, and then with a pry bar, you pried the tire off and the tube, and you scratched the tube and put a patch on it, took the nail out and threw it away for the next guy, and then you put the whole thing back on. It was probably 45.
The time it took you to change the tire.
Probably 45 minutes to an hour.
Probably take me that long now.
And a lot of cursing.
Yeah.
That's right, among other things. That's an early Buick there. Now, Buick was one of those 4 cars that was used to form General Motors. It was Cadillac, Buick, Oldsmobile, and Oakland. Those were the beginning of General Motors.
I love those seats.
Well, they were usually done or made by carriage makers because they were used to making upholstery for carriages.
They just look comfortable.
Oh yeah.
It seemed like all the vehicles back then were convertible.
They just didn't have the stamping material to make metal tops.
Metal tops.
And they were usually stuffed with horsehair.
Now, this is a big vehicle right here.
That's a 1911 Cadillac. Now, Cadillac 1911, that was the first year for an electric starter. That was a big deal.
Where's the electric starter?
Let me see. It'll be a push button someplace.
Is it on the ground?
Yeah, right there. That thing right there.
Oh, I see.
Because this is the throttle up here. This is the throttle and the spark on the steering wheel. That's the starter down there. Still steering on the right-hand side, though, 1911. Oh, yeah. Well, that was about the only comfort you had, because they didn't ride real good.
Bad on the shocks.
This is the third year of international trucks here. They decided that instead of having horses to haul the corn to the supermarket, they'd go ahead and make a truck. And this was called a truck.
Now, are these tires?
They're solid rubber.
I was gonna say that with no air or nothing, just solid rubber.
No, they're solid rubber, and the spokes in them are wood.
So that ride rough.
Absolutely. No creature comforts, but it had, you know, your own air. Well, it had air conditioning, if you'll notice, whether you liked it or not. 1911 Ford. Now this is, they switched the steering wheel over to the left-hand side now.
So was this the first model?
That was the, well, it was the first model that I know of, and I think that was one of the first years when people started to recognize, hey, we need a little more visibility here. Huh. And they had a little seat in the back. Some people,
it's basically a coupe.
Pretty much, yeah. Or a roadster, as we would call it. That would be terrifying. And I don't know. I tell people that was for the mother-in-law back there, but they tell me it was really made for the child, that seat in the back.
Oh, this seat right here.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Well, your mother-in-law probably thought so.
But you know what? That'd be horrible, too, because she'd be in your ear the whole time. You need that.
That's it. That's it. This was made by a bicycle company. That's called a Woods Mobilette. Little two-passenger rascal. Got bicycle wheels on it.
So you know what? They took the thinking out of the left or right and just threw it in the middle.
Absolutely. Well, it's narrow enough to do that.
Yes.
This is a 1912 Standard Electric. There's the first, now there's your first convertible.
Okay.
Again, no steering wheel, had a tiller.
This is a pretty looking car though. Now these tires have air in them.
Yes, they were pneumatic.
Okay.
Yeah, they had air. We're trying to soften the ride up. And most of these pretty much stayed in town because they could only go about 120 miles before they had to recharge the batteries. And a lot of rural area homes in this era did not have electricity.
Now, was this the first electric production car?
It was one of the first.
Okay.
One of the first. The next car you see here, the 1914 Detroit, and that's another, right, it's a couple years later. A very elegant car.
Yes.
Batteries in the front and the back.
So the battery's under this hood here?
Oh, under the hood and the trunk, both.
Oh, so it's two batteries?
All kinds of, they're 6-volt batteries hooked in series.
So basically Elon Musk move over.
That's right. And this one here, again, it steered with a tiller, but the driver was in the back seat.
Driving the vehicle?
Yeah, this was most generally a lady's car.
You know, in today's society, I would be scared if somebody's driving a car from the back.
You would be too. Well, I think this was the origin of the term, the woman being a backseat driver. I don't tell that to everybody. I don't say that to any of our lady guests.
Sure. It always looks like it has two fronts, but I can see how to distinct the back.
Yeah,
though.
It just needed to have a lot of capacity for batteries. And they didn't go very fast. But they were very elegant. It had little, curtains on the windows, had little flower vases on the inside. Very nice.
It's a beautiful car. It has
yes, it is.
Too.
Yeah. And it had curved glass.
All the way around. That's why I call it the spaceship.
Yeah.
The oval shape. Yeah. How much does that run?
You mean dollar-wise? Cost? It went about 100 miles before it needed to be charged, but the cost on that one there was probably, yeah, $2,500 to $3,000, which was huge in 1914. Usually a gentleman bought this for his wife or his girlfriend or something like that.
Okay. This is a pretty looking Chevy.
Yeah, it is. Little Chevy convertible, or Phaeton as we call them. Phaeton just means it's a four-door convertible with a collapsible top. That's what Phaeton means. And this is the beginning of Dodge.
1920.
Yep.
They came out big and bold.
The Dodge brothers, two brothers. They started life as machine shops. They were machinists.
So, now, back during these times, I guess Ford was the leader car maker at the time.
Oh, without a doubt.
And did they set the standard for how they wanted cars to be? Because it seems like every time Ford did something, people like, was it America or was it Ford that switched the steering wheel on the left or right side?
We don't really know, and we've never been able to find that written in a book any place.
Okay. Because I know Ford had a lot of skin in the game.
Oh, absolutely. They were the largest manufacturer because he figured out how to manufacture cars on an assembly line.
He was the first one, yes.
Yeah. See, in 1919, the year that Chevrolet was born, that was the first year that General Motors ever used an assembly line. Other than that, all the parts came into one location and they put the car together and then drove it off. But Ford didn't do that. He put the wheels on over here, he put the body on over here, he put the motor on, all on a moving drivetrain. And he drove his car out the end of it, so he could manufacture more cars in less time at less money. And it wasn't until 1919, 1920 that General Motors said, we need to do that. So Ford was the leader, there's no doubt about it.
No doubt about it. And for fun, you got to throw some old school phones. No iPhone, no Samsung.
No.
Android.
No. Now this is your early Ford Coupe. This always reminds me of Laurel and Hardy or somebody like that, the two comedians. Now that is a kind of a unique automobile. That's a Rickenbacker. It's named after the famous World War I pilot, Eddie Rickenbacker.
Really?
And the vehicle was built, and then they decided that they needed a name for it. And so they got a hold of Eddie Rickenbacker and cut him in on the deal. And so they call it a Rickenbacker Coupe. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, rather than the wood spokes, it had a solid disc wheel on it.
I see that.
And we don't see very many of those either. Rickenbackers are kind of rare. This is a Page, and now you start to see some of the creature comforts creeping into. Now it's got a nice convertible top on it. It's got canvas that you can put onto the side. That was for a family, because it's got little jump seats in it too.
Jump seat. Some vehicles still use jump seats.
In limos, yeah. This was a Whippet. Now, a Whippet was a model of a Willys.
Did women love these cars? Because I see she's still in it.
She's a good looker too.
You know what?
Never mind. Don't go there.
I'm just saying she seems like a person that doesn't talk much.
Yeah, right. That's a rare woman.
You're trying to get me in trouble right now. That's a rare woman. You got to get it all out before you go.
I know.
You got to get it all out.
Before I get home, yeah.
Yeah, before you get home.
This is a Buick. Beautiful car. Buick has always been General Motors' moneymaker. Always. And that's a pretty elegant car.
It is a beautiful car. Now, I won't quite understand why they did stuff like this. Now, I mean, it looks cool, but it's like I'm not in the car. So if it rains...
I kind of think it was for kids, children, or I say the mother-in-law.
But
I
was
don't
thinking about rain, because we're here in Washington, so...
Well, you put on your raincoat and your hat, and it was better than riding a horse.
Okay, good point. Good point.
That's the luggage compartment on the back?
The trunk?
Yeah, basically. A pretty nice looking car, really, for 1929.
True. Most of these cars I'll still drive today, and I wouldn't care what nobody thought.
This right here is a Cord, built by Eli Cord. And what makes it unique, not only its beauty, but its front wheel drive. Very much like today's cars. Cord built some beautiful automobiles. It just happens to be one of them.
Majority of the cars on the road are front wheel.
Yes, a lot of them are.
Now I know that, I know a little bit here. Was it Preston Tucker?
Tucker had...
Remember the Tucker 50?
Yeah, but the Tucker, let's see, it was front wheel drive. You're right.
Yeah. But I thought he made his vehicles rear wheel drive, the Tuckers.
No, they were front wheel drive.
They were front wheel drive,
yeah.
Okay. He may, supposedly, I guess,
and
he put him out of business.
He used, well, there's all kinds of rumors. Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, they all teamed up against him because he had such a beautiful car.
Because he made the first car with the moving middle light.
Yes,
yeah. He had seat belts, and he had the first fuel injection.
Yeah. It was powered by an aircraft motor, a Franklin. You'll see one of them in one of the next buildings.
Oh, Tucker.
Oh, yeah, we have one.
Nice.
Very nice. But Cord was a beautiful car.
And was he one of the original 50s?
Yes. It is number 7.
I can't even imagine how much that car costs, because all the innovation that's inside of it.
I saw one the other day that was either sold or advertised for sale was $3.3 million.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Somebody will buy it, I promise you.
Oh, it's a good investment.
Oh, yeah. Some people might argue that, cars are, more of a collective but not an investment, but some cars are an investment.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, like this 1930 Cadillac. Beautiful car. They only made this model for 3 years. 30, 31, 32, and it's an overhead valve V16. V16. There were only 2 American-made companies that made a V16 motor. You know who the other one was?
Who was that?
Well, I would say it was Marmon. M-A-R-M-O-N.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, Marmon. Cadillac and Marmon both made a V16. Cadillac overhead valve. But they only made it for 3 years. Too expensive. And that's a beautiful car. If you were to try and buy one of these, I would say today's market, you better have $500,000 in your pocket, or you're not going to buy it.
Look at that step up.
Oh, it's beautiful. Everything about that car is elegant. That's a LaSalle. LaSalle was a model of a Cadillac.
I can tell. They use Fleetwood. Oh, now this midnight blue.
Well, this one here is a Stutz, the same as a Stutz Bearcat Speedster, only this was the sedan model that was manufactured by Stutz. Oh, it's pretty.
Got armrests too. They put mini armrests on it.
Well, this one here, Grandma got to.
Oh, the step-ups.
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay, that was smart.
Yeah, so
That was smart.
she could get in and be a little
I mean, it's the simple things that tell me, okay, they were thinking.
Oh yeah. This
Like,
is.
we don't want to damage the paint. We don't want to
That's
damage.
it. And we don't want you to show your underskirt. Well, you know, you got to be.
You love putting the mother-in-law back then.
And I have a wonderful mother-in-law. This is an Essig, made by the Hudson Company. They were never a company by themselves. They were a model of the Hudson. This is a Stutz boat tail speedster. Now the people that made that blue sedan also made these.
Now, was this one donated or given to the National Guard? See the sign?
No, they were a sponsor.
Oh.
They were the Great Race. Now this car ran the Great Race in 2006. And so that meant that under its own power, and with Doug LeMay driving it most of the time, it went from Pennsylvania to California under its own power.
Okay. Huh.
And the way these were made is Stutz made them, but they didn't make the back end. The back end, you had it made, and then you send it down to a Coachworks, and they built whatever back end configuration you wanted. This one happens to be what they call a boat tail. Henceforth, it's pointed.
Oh, I see.
Very nice.
That's very different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a boat tail speedster. I think this one's a 1930, isn't it? 31.
31.
31. Now we're getting into some of the more modern stuff.
Marvin.
1931 American Bantam.
Over here.
That was made by the American company.
That's a cute little car.
Yes, they were. Yeah, they cost about the same as what a Model A Ford did.
I love the fact that most of the cars have the keys inside of it.
Well, nobody's going to steal them because we take the batteries out and we usually take the gas out. So, plus the building has alarms.
Oh, I'm not thinking about taking one.
That's good. That's good.
I probably can't even drive half of them.
This is a 1937 Cord. Now this is the last year they were ever made.
Now I love the fact that they hid the lights and wow, that's pretty. That's really pretty.
This is called a coffin.
Lost for words.
It's called a coffin nose.
Now is that chrome or like you said polished steel?
No, that's chrome.
That's chrome.
Because we're back in the 30s now.
Okay.
And chrome
you
was
said after 1922.
21.
21. Okay.
This is front wheel drive. And this is powered by an airplane motor. They took a Lycoming aircraft motor, which is a V8. They turned it around backwards. And then they put the transmission up there. So it made it front wheel drive. This is the last year they ever made a Cord. And these headlights, they didn't have all the nice push buttons we do and all the electronics we do today. So this headlight here, you went inside and you turned this white knob here a certain number of times and that headlight opened. And then you went over to the other side and you did the same thing and that headlight cover opened.
So you had to reach across though?
Either reach across or ask your wife or your girlfriend or your brother to go ahead and twist that.
Okay.
And that way it would open up both of them.
Because this was more for
This was a
the
kind
looks of it.
Yeah, it was a sporty car.
Okay.
No doubt about it. That's a Packard. Oh, this is,
every time I look at a Packard, you know, they actually make good looking vehicles.
oh yeah. They were very classy.
Now Packard was made by Packard.
Packard was made by Packard Brothers, yes.
And
They went out of business actually in 1958.
okay.
was the last. See, in 1954, they bought Studebaker thinking that they would like to have another car that was less expensive than a Packard so that they could compete with General Motors and Ford with all the different cars that they had. They didn't realize at the time that Studebaker was underwater. They were really bankrupt. So they tried to prop up Studebaker by sales of Packard, and it didn't work. And
I don't know what made Ford so successful that they beat out them and General Motors beat out everybody. Because you know now America only has 2 car makers, and it's Ford and General Motors.
That's it. That's it.
You know, so and it's amazing that we used to have all these car makers, but they literally went under. Or like Dodge and Chrysler, they got sold to Fiat.
That's right. Well, today, you know, if you look in the early 1900s, there was somewhere, and nobody's been able to identify how many, but if you look at the people that made vehicles that had an internal combustion motor on them, either be a motorcycle, a truck, or a car, there was probably somewhere around 2,500 different manufacturers. And today we have 2. Two. That's crazy. So they gobble one another up along the line. A lot of them purchased other companies.
Isn't Ford, wasn't they credited to be the first person to make, the first company or person to make a car?
I think so. Although there were some made in Italy, there were some made in France, there was one made in India.
Around the same time?
Around the same time. So that's really a controversial issue.
Okay.
But Ford was the first one who put them out on a production line assembly and made them economically sound for people to be able to buy. Did a good job. This is the Packard. Now this Packard was the same as that Stutz over there. Packard did not make from here back. That was done by a Coachworks, most generally in California. And it was done by a fellow by the name of Darren Coachworks. And so this is called a Packard Darren. This originally, probably on the assembly line, would have started life as a 2-door sedan. But they just left everything off from here back.
So most, as you was explaining earlier, most car makers was only making the front half of the car.
On the specialty cars, yes.
Okay.
On the specialty cars. Now this is a specialty car, the same as the Stutz is. That's a special.
Now this gives the other car that I like some competition here.
Now
it's the same sort of design.
Well, this company right here owned Cord, and they owned Duesenberg. And this one happens to be a supercharged model. Most generally, anytime you see the pipes coming out the side like this, that's a supercharge. That's an 8-cylinder, straight 8, supercharged one, very powerful. But the supercharger probably didn't add much more than 25 or 28 horsepower to it. Today, a supercharger would probably add 100 horsepower.
Especially on this scale here.
The beautiful car. Beautiful car.
Well, I'll let you know, supercharged.
This is another example of a Cadillac, or LaSalle. LaSalle was a model of a Cadillac. It was not a manufactured automobile unto itself. Cadillac LaSalle, the same as Chevrolet Impala. LaSalle was not a badge unto itself. It was a model of a Cadillac. And what happened was LaSalle outsold Cadillac for 3 years in a row. So General Motors management said, we can't have that. Cadillac is our flagship car. So they discontinued LaSalle.
Wow.
1940 was the last year they were made. As you can see the Cadillac emblem on the hubcap here. That's because that rascal is a Cadillac. It's just sold as a LaSalle.
Huh.
And they were less expensive than the Cadillac convertible. '39 Buick. Again, Buick was a beautiful car. Gorgeous car.
What happened to them?
Well, they lost their designer. In 1934, He died. No, in 1934, they hired a young fella who started to look at automobiles and say they need to be aesthetically sound. They need to look good. And so his name was Harley Earl. And he was in charge of design for Buick or for all of General Motors up to 1958. If it didn't pass his review, it didn't get built.
So he was only in the business of making sound, beautiful cars.
Well, they put him in, they made a special department for him, design and interior. And he made Buick look beautiful. He made all cars look beautiful. But if you look at this car, it's got dual fender mount spare tires. It's got first year for turn signal.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, most people don't.
Encased.
Oh, absolutely.
Easy to get to.
They were
just made it part of the design.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the first year for turn signals for General Motors.
What year is this again?
1939.
1939. So at first, no one knew if you were turning.
Nope, you put your arm
hand out.
That was a left-hand turn, this was a right-hand turn, this was, oh God, I made a mistake. Early Chevrolet, the ever-popular 1940 Ford. This is a Chrysler Windsor, and this is the product of our own restoration shop here. They brought it in and it was pretty rugged looking. And because it is so rare, we don't see any more of those. We just don't. They made very few of them. It was built in 1942, the year of the war, so they never made any more of them. And this is called a Highlander, and that's Scottish kind of upholstery. If you look at the dashboard, it's beautiful.
That is.
Yeah, that's plastic or Catlin, as they call it.
I love that Scottish fabric there.
Oh, yeah.
And look at this.
This is a 1940 Cadillac sedan, or actually, it's a limo. This is the last
And
year.
it has the same tires like the other one.
Yes, the fender mounts.
Turn signals.
Oh, beautiful.
Wow.
And that's the last year they made a V16 for Cadillac, but it's not the overhead valve. It's two V8s kind of bolted together.
Okay.
Flatheads. They only made that overhead valve 3 years.
Yeah, after a while, there's a lot of these vehicles, and this is not an insult to these classic vehicles. Do some of them, after a while, start to look alike?
Yes, they do.
They were kind of copying each other?
I think so.
Okay.
We talked about Nash. We looked at that ugly Nash record. Now here's a Nash convertible that looks pretty darn good, I think.
It does. I like it.
Yeah, 1941, nice, clean looking little thing. Looks almost like a 1940 Ford, really.
I think you know what would have made this car look better? It's just me. It's a black interior for some reason, but not this. Oh,
Probably would have.
That's not bad. That's not bad. But I think black would have looked better.
I've often thought, even though it's a convertible, it would look a little better if it had some kind of a little window in here. Maybe a Thunderbird kind of window with a round deal in it. That's a Hudson. Did you ever watch Happy Days on television?
I did.
Well, this is the car that...
Wait a minute, did I just give away my age?
This car, yes, it does. This car was the car that was used to film that. The 1948 DeSoto Custom.
And this is the original car they used?
That is the original car.
Days.
That's right. Henry Winkler, Ron Howard, Mr. Cunningham.
You're not still watching the Andy Griffin Show, are you?
Once in a while.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I watch MASH on that channel once in a while because it's funny.
You know, I never knew, even though they showed it as an abbreviation, that MASH actually was an abbreviation for something. I never knew that.
Military Air, M-A-S-H.
I know the H is hospital.
Yeah, but I don't know what the
S
S. I don't know what the S was. It's military, Army, M-A. I don't know. But this is the original 7-passenger car. And the little gal used to have to ride in the back seat. Her name was Joni, I believe. She was always complaining because Ron Howard and Fonzie got to ride in the second seat. So, but it's just like it was used in the film. That's another one of those cars that has provenance with it, has history. We're getting up into the real modern stuff now.
I don't like that color right here.
Pretty.
It's not a pretty color. I don't know what it is about it.
Don't you like it?
Oh, what these guys watching TV? Okay.
Yeah. Got an old TV set there, got an old telephone.
And this is for those Zennials and Millennials out there. This is a
That's
real
it.
phone.
That's it.
Tick, 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 tick.
I always tell people this is the changer for the television. No
Kids.
more. It's the remotes.
The remotes. Hey, put it on channel 60. Remember, channel 60 was a thing?
Yeah.
Channel 60, channel 5,
7.
7, yeah.
And you had to turn the antenna to get it.
Just right. Sometimes you had to put aluminum foil on it like they did up here.
Yep. That's what I say. This is a history museum. 1948 on the Packard.
This is another Packard?
Now, that's a Packard.
Yeah. Like I said, they made really nice cars.
Oh, beautiful cars.
I can't believe they went under.
Well,
Ford did something. I blame Ford. No, I'm kidding.
we can do that.
We can blame Ford? Okay, cool.
Oh yeah. That's a Buick, 1949 Buick convertible, gorgeous car.
We will call this a banana nowadays.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous car. But,
Yes, it is.
You know, and here we go. See, with that particular colors, I love black. I think it calms it down a little bit for me.
Well, it's classy. It's just plain classy.
Yeah.
This is a Kaiser off to my left, built by Henry J. Kaiser Company. Same people that own
It's kind of a
Kaiser.
soft, burnt orange color, slightly
Yeah.
pink, slightly Pepto-Bismol with
This is the year of the fin for General Motors, 1959. Biggest fin in the industry.
This one right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a...
Harley Earl said if we're going to make a fin, we're going to make it big, so we did.
That is a big fin.
That's a big car. That's a big car. Elvis Presley bought one of these for his mom when he got wealthy, and it was a 4-door hardtop. This is just a 2-door.
That's a big vehicle inside, too. It looks like...
Oh, you bet it is.
Big back window.
Yep. Cars were big back then, and they were heavy, they rode good.
But they were bad in accidents.
Oh, well, they didn't have all the modern conveniences that we do. I saw a video one time where they were doing a 59 Chevrolet and a newer model car, and the comparisons of Volvo, as a matter of fact. And the 59 Chevrolet did not fare well at all.
Wow.
No, it had a lot of... The dummy on the inside got injured badly. 58 Oldsmobile, that's a gorgeous car.
This is gorgeous.
Nicely restored. One of the things that made a 58 Oldsmobile a little bit unique, General Motors had tried to hide all the gas caps, and you could find this one just by doing
Oh.
this. That's where you put the gas in it at.
That's hitting pretty well.
Yes, it is. The kid,
I wouldn't have known.
The kid in the gas station, that 16-year-old kid at the gas pump, probably didn't know where it was.
Wow, look at that.
Oh, this is a hardtop convertible. Now, Ford made this for only 3 years. 58, 59, and 60. No, 57, 58, 59. And what happened was, you pushed the right button and the trunk lid opened, and you pushed some more buttons and the top came up, and this thing folded down, and then the whole thing disappeared into the trunk, and then the trunk lid closed.
Could you still use the trunk, though, for anything?
The only thing that you could use the trunk for was that box right there.
Okay.
That was the trunk.
That was the trunk.
Yeah. Put the kids in there, I guess, or something.
And so this is probably doing this year, what, hydraulic?
No, well, yes.
Okay.
Yes. There were 7 motors to operate this. 2 of them operated hydraulics. 2 of them operated the trunk lid. 5 of them operated the top. There were 18 limit switches, 18 solenoids, 610 feet of wire, and 11 circuit breakers. Now, what could go wrong?
Everything.
You're exactly right.
Every single thing.
And it did. And it still continues to go wrong. Because today they have convertible tops like BMW and those kind of cars. You push a button and all the electronics, zoom, it just disappears. But not in this era. Too many mechanical features.
Too many.
Way too many.
But I think that when you do a lot of that innovation, it does cause for innovation to be pushed and for car technology to be better years to come.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because I'm pretty sure a lot of car makers like those electric cars,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure people like Elon Musk and other electric car makers got some sort of idea. I know he said that Nikola Tesla was his inspiration.
Yep.
And he came up with his own design. And I'm not taking anything away from him, but
I think it would be absolutely fantastic to be able to work for Elon Musk. He is so far ahead in his thinking process. It is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
He builds rockets that go up into space and come down
and land.
And NASA hadn't been able to do that.
With all the
with all the government money.
Scientists, government money.
That's right.
Huh.
No, I really respect him.
He's cocky, but I mean, I guess you have to be in that space.
Well, I think he lives in that world. He does. He lives in a futuristic world that other people think is challenging.
Now, did you, speaking about Elon Musk, did you hear about he made a Hyperloop system?
Well,
and I believe Richard Branson bought the first version of the pods. So it's about First is a version of lowering your car down into underground space, more like a subway,
right,
and putting it into a kind of a skate, and then it zooming away. Or what Richard Branson was trying to do in the Middle East, like Dubai and places like that, where the Hyperloop either goes underground or up on some sort of track, but not a track, but a tube. But it's impossible. You get to sit down, and it cuts the time like a third.
Yes.
You know, someplace it takes you like an hour will take you like 10, 12 minutes.
Well, his proposal is for the city of New York.
They need to replace subways?
To replace some of the slower methods of transportation in the city of New York.
Because it's congested.
Absolutely. He's a smart guy.
Yeah?
He dreams the future. He does. I just got it.
No, that's funny you should say he dreams the future and makes it a reality.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, GTO.
Yeah, this is a 64, I believe. Is that right?
That's a beautiful color.
Yeah, 64. That was I think the third year for GTO.
You know what? It's a midnight blue. It looks like it has metallic spectacles in it.
And not only that, that's a 389 in this one here, 4-speed. Beautiful car. Beautiful white interior.
Nice. That is a beautiful car.
Really nice.
Wait a minute. Who's this guy here?
What's that?
Is this a black guy? He looks black for some reason.
I don't know.
Huh.
Really?
He looks like, I'm looking at his hair. It look like back in the day, the black guys used to perm their hair a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they still do it, but.
I have no idea.
But, I mean, is it me or does he look black? And for this year, I just think that's different.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Either that or maybe Italian or something.
His features, though, his lips, his nose.
Yeah?
Yeah. Huh. Now, I was shocked to see that. A 1965 AMC.
Yeah, American Motors Corporation or Chrysler.
You know, I used to have a, what year was that vehicle? A 1995 Eagle Vision?
Oh, Eagle, that was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were they at one point AMC or no?
Yeah, they were AMC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was right. Okay.
I liked them. I thought they were neat.
Now, it had a funky liter. I believe my V6 was a 3.7 liter. 3.7. Yeah, it was a 3.7 liter Eagle Vision. Yep.
Yep.
And it almost looked like a Dodge Intrepid.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this is your average ground pounding Chrysler Hemi. This is a 426, rated at 425 horsepower, and it rules the road. It is horsepower personified.
Wow.
This is your first year for General Motors front-wheel drive. 1966 Oldsmobile Tornado. Not this particular car, but one 66 Oldsmobile Tornado was the 100 millionth General Motors car manufactured. General Motors started in 1909 or 1908, and between there and 1966, they made 100 million automobiles.
100 million?
100 million. The 55 Chevrolet up here, one of them was the 50 millionth car made by General Motors. So on 55, up until then, they'd made 55 million cars. 1966, they said, aha, this is our 100 millionth car. It happened to be front-wheel drive, first year. Next year, Cadillac was also front. Buick Riviera.
These are popular cars.
Oh boy, they've gotten even more popular now with the hot rod industry. the street rod industry, they'll take and they'll put a set of 28-inch wheels on that thing with the they'll paint that thing black, and they are gorgeous. And they'll set it down on the ground a little bit. Ooh, really nice. Really nice. Malibu by Chevrolet, a very popular car.
Even today?
Yep, and very expensive today. I watched again Bear Jackson yesterday, and some of these were going for like 35, 40,000.
Wow. Skylark.
Oh, the Buick. This is a GTX, or GSX, excuse me.
Correct.
That's the sport model.
When cars were cars.
Yeah, that's a 4-speed too. That old sparkly here, that's a 51 Mercury. That's what lowriders used to look like. That's a California style custom car.
Nice.
Got the top chopped on it, and you don't see very many 4-doors that they chop the top on, because it's hard to do. But that's a 4-door.
Oh, and suicide doors.
Yep.
Now, do you know anything in the history about suicide doors? Why do they call them suicide doors? Because I don't.
Well, because if you're going down the road at 50 miles an hour and your kid reaches over and opens the door, the wind will catch it and suck them right out. You're liable to find your child out in the street.
I understand.
Henceforth, suicide.
But people actually like those doors. I think because.
Well, in 51, even a real car, one that hadn't been customized, had suicide doors on it. And some of the older cars had suicide doors. They're so easy to get in and out of.
Yeah.
They really are. But this one just happened. That's candy apple red on this one.
Oh, that's pretty.
It is
That's pretty.
Car. It is pretty good. Yeah, we don't own that guy. That belongs to one of the guys that works here.
I think this reminds me of a James Bond. Was it? Did he? No.
That's a Shelby Cobra.
No, he didn't. He didn't drive. He didn't know because this is.
It looks almost like an Aston Martin.
That's okay. Okay, and he had a silver one.
Yes.
But this is made by Ford.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's
Nice.
actually made by Carroll Shelby. It's on a Ford chassis, and it's a Ford motor and transmission, but it's all dolled up by Carroll Shelby, the famous race driver.
When I look at this vehicle right here, this lime mesh green 75 AMC Pacer,
Yeah.
it makes me feel like I'm retired on a budget.
I hope you did better financial planning than that.
You know, and that is what my channel is mainly about. I teach people finances. So hopefully when I become your age, I'm financially free
Good.
and not owe anybody any money.
This was all plastic. This year was the year that Iacocca took over Chrysler. Took them out of bankruptcy, and that happened to be one of the models.
You know why they took them out of bankruptcy? Because it's plastic.
Well, could be. And but the seats in it are all leather, real leather.
Well, I think it's kind of like covering up feces,
Yeah.
right? You put a nice blanket on feces, like, I don't smell anything when you lift up the blanket, but
Yep.
making cars out of plastic, I can see fiberglass, but plastic?
This is a Pontiac Fiero, I believe they called that.
Nice little car.
Oh, it's
Little
kind of a
sports car.
sporting model.
Yeah, sporting model, yeah.
And it had the motor back here.
Like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Copycats. No, I'm kidding.
Poor man's Ferrari.
I don't need to spend too much time on this 96 Dodge Caravan.
You know, that's what bailed them out, though. Boy, that was a family getting son of a gun. You know, you could take the kids any place you wanted to go. It was cheap.
Conventional.
It got good mileage. It didn't cost a lot of money. No, he was real smart. Now, here's your fiberglass car. This is an Avante. Studebaker Avante.
Okay, so Studebaker made this car.
Yeah.
not a bad looking car. I mean, it looks a little weird. What cylinder was it? That's a huge hood.
8.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, it was made originally in 62 and 63, and it was made by Studebaker and had a Studebaker motor, transmission, rear end. That's fiberglass. It is fiberglass. It is not metal.
Okay.
And it didn't sell very well. It was pretty cheap. It rattled. It didn't have any power. It didn't ride good. So they quit making it. And so then in 1982, a group of investors decided they wanted to try at it again. So they got the authorization from Studebaker. They probably had to purchase it to make them again. But they used a Chevrolet motor, Chevrolet transmission and rear end, and the underpan, all the running gear and everything came from a Chevrolet Camaro. The body is exactly the same, made from the same molds. So it made a pretty darn good car of it. Now, the way that you tell the differences between this model and the original ones had round headlights. The Avante 2, that's what they call this, has rectangular headlights. That's the only difference.
That's the only difference.
Yep.
And again, another selling point.
Exactly. But it's a pretty nice little car. Your average.
Oh yeah, that's an average caddy, 1999.
Yep. And you got your
2000 Honda Insight Hybrid.
Now this is kind of, we're entering now into the hybrid area.
Okay.
And this is what you started to see by Honda.
You still see these actually on the road too.
Yeah, they've become a collector's item though.
Yeah.
They really have.
What you think the miles to the gallon is?
I think, don't they show it on this, 65 or something like that? Produced in 1909 to 1914. It doesn't give them miles. Yeah, 61 miles per gallon. 61. And that was gas and electric both. It had a little gas motor in it.
Now, I would rather have this one. This is really stylish.
Well, you
futuristically.
probably would. That's an AFS hybrid. And there were only 2 of these ever manufactured. One in 2007. And it was manufactured and designed by an electrical engineer.
Okay.
Here in Washington State.
Washington State?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it has no gas power.
At all?
It has an electric motor on each wheel.
Now, where's the second one at?
This is the second one.
Oh, where's the first
one? First one was built in 2007. This was built in 2008. This was the Detroit Auto Show Car of the Year right here. Unfortunately, midway through the year, this fella had a heart attack and died. So his wife closed the company up.
Oh, so he was going to start producing cars?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
This is what they call kinetic energy.
Kinetic energy.
When you drive down the road, it creates some
energy to put back into the power of the car.
Right, but it can't produce enough to where you don't have to plug it in once in a while to juice up everything.
Yeah, because now they're trying to make kinetic cars where also when you brake, the friction energy is not just released, it's actually re-inputted inside the system.
That's right.
Huh.
It's a beautiful car.
It is. I mean, I like it better than the hybrid or the Insight hybrid.
Way better. It's a beautiful car.
Do you know the miles to the gallon by any chance?
I don't think he ever listed them. It shows you a little bit of it here.
Oh, okay.
Systems prototypes being developed for the American flywheel system.
Flywheel battery demonstration unit is a working model of a mechanical battery that was built to demonstrate how electricity can be stored in the front form of kinetic energy in a spinning mass and then converted back to electrical energy. The main component of this system is a space reaction wheel, a flywheel used to position and control satellites and spacecrafts. Even though this is a much less powerful flywheel battery than the American flywheel system prototype being developed for the AFS-20, when it is charged for only 3 minutes with 3 amps of 110 volt house current, barely enough to toast a piece of bread, it is still capable of storing 10,000 foot-pounds of energy at the rim of the flywheel rotator. 10,000
pounds of foot-pounds of energy. That's tremendous. tremendous.
So when I see vehicles like this, that nature, why isn't no one? Did she could sell the diagrams, the plans, the blueprint, however you want to call it.
She maybe did,
But
and somebody may have bought it. And Ford, Chevrolet,
Ford
Motors, or
Ford.
somebody may have bought it.
I'm not against Ford, but Ford reputation is notorious.
I'm just guessing, though. Maybe it was Elon Musk.
Maybe.
But it shows you the.
That's a good point you just made.
The
Maybe.
AFS is just unbelievable.
Well, did you hear about a guy? It had to been at least 8 to 10 years ago. He converted a BMW to run off water, regular tap water.
Yeah, I did.
And the story basically said someone bought him out, and they got the plane. They never released them. Is that true?
I don't know. I've heard the story, but I don't know.
You don't know. You don't want to say.
I just don't know. I've not been able to do enough research on it. Probably they've got the research buried,
Yes,
and they're not going to allow us.
because certain companies like Ford and GM will pay almost $1 billion to keep that under wraps.
Oh, absolutely, 100 billion.
Because they're tied into the fossil fuel industry as well.
Internal combustion motors.
Yes, general combustion motors. Wow. Because if you just put in water, oh my.
Yeah, it shows you.
And look at the gas prices now.
Oh,
$3.69 a gallon.
you know, it's kind of funny. We pay $3.69 on this side of the mountain. I just came back from Eastern Washington visiting my son over. That was $2.99.
$2.99.
Almost 70 cents a gallon difference. I think we're getting ripped.
And robbed.
Yeah, this is a breakdown of it right here. Kind of an interesting.
2006 patent filing.
Yeah.
And you know that Elon Musk, with his electric cars, he also just released them to the public. He said, hey, if you can make it better, make it better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But no one has come close.
I'd love
Did
to
he
be
know that? Or was he just cocky? Or he just like, hey, I just want things to be better?
little both.
Okay.
Go ahead and challenge me, he's
And this
saying.
is an ugly PT Cruiser. I already know what this is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on.
Nah. Look at, you know what? They messed up when they did that. Because they tried to throw some old into it. And they sold some of these.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They've become a collector's item now. They form clubs for these things.
They're gonna need a club. and I don't mean the one you beat up.
How true.
Oh, I don't like PT Cruisers.
Okay, this is a Pontiac Solus. This is what the dealership could buy if they wanted to set it on their showroom floor and tell, if you want to buy this car, this is what it looks like when you take its dress off.
Oh.
So you're looking at the car with it in its underwear, so to speak.
So these are the same two cars.
Yeah.
One. Okay.
Yeah. Now this one here has had some, you know, normally, unless you're going to operate on the freeway, you don't have one of these that has machine guns in the grill.
Yeah.
So this one was used in some movies, so they've modified it.
I mean, you might need a few machine guns. You know.
You'd like to have some sometimes. Yeah, this was used in the film Rush City. I've never heard of it, but anyway, it was used in that film. It's got machine guns in the trunk. It's got a hand grenade or two in the back. It's kind
Now,
of James Bond.
now, were they functional?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. It was this movie right here.
I've never seen that movie.
Me
Rush
neither.
City? How old is that movie?
I don't know.
I might have to look that up.
This is an 06.
Oh, I see the gun up there. Okay. Oh, okay. 2005 Ford Mustang Shelby.
Yeah, this is Shelby. This was a rental car. Hertz,
Oh, rental car.
yeah, Hertz had a whole fleet of these
Go ahead, Hertz.
that they rented out.
Got the short ram induction right there.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a GTH, and it's got the Hertz. I don't think it was a good adventure for them because a lot of younger people bought them and they burnt the tires off of them and then brought them back, and you know.
They stopped that.
Yeah. They came back with rims that were switched, with motors that were traded. A lot of problems.
Oh, people stealing stuff and
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Now this little rascal right here made by Mercedes.
2010 and beyond.
Yeah, we call it a smart car. But smart cars are made by Mercedes.
Yes, I knew that, yeah. I call them be scared when you drive past an 18-wheeler car.
I know several people that have these. They love it, but they've never been in an accident.
You know what my grandfather would say? He died when he was 77, but he would say, "Where's the rest of it at?"
Good point. Now there's an oddball here. 1954 Kaiser Darren. Henry J. Kaiser. I believe there were 354 of these made. Now, they were made before Corvette. 4 months before Corvette, they released this. It is fiberglass. They were the first fiberglass car. Corvette was released 4 months later.
Wow.
Now, what makes these unique is the door disappears when you open it.
I saw that.
Disappears into the fender.
Wow. So, and some people would drive around with it still open.
You could, yeah. Wow. But there were only 435 of them ever made. They were very underpowered. They had a little 6-cylinder Kaiser motor in them.
They didn't go very fast.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And this year, in the late 50s, early 60s, there was this fear that we were going to get involved in a nuclear war with Russia, and they were going to bomb us, and we were going to bomb them.
And this was
You buried this underground. You bought it from this company that's commercially made, and you buried it out in the backyard. And that was for a family of 4.
I was reading something on the internet where a guy, he was digging in his backyard, and it was like a city of them all put together of bomb shelters, and he didn't know what it was, but come to find out it was a nuclear bomb shelter. And like you said, the company or whatever companies that were making them, you will order one and they will come out and dig in your ground, drop it and bury it back in, and then you'll have a hatch. But I think over the course of time it sunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what it looked like when we got it, that big round thing. And I'm not sure Harold bought it knowing what it was. And then they found a tag on the bottom of it someplace, so they called. They said, well, these people will never be in business. They answered the phone.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. They're still in business. They still build underground civil defense shelters, but they're $1 million projects now.
And people still buy them, I bet.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You know why they still in business? I got one word. Well, I got a couple of words. The U.S. government.
Fear.
Huh? You summed it up.
Fear.
Because you know what? Think about this. You know about Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, correct?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have some hand in that.
Oh, if they don't, they should.
Are we talking about government conspiracies now? No. Fallout shelter.
You just never know. But
4
anyway,
people.
We went ahead and restored it so people could see what the past looked like.
You got the top left. You have a bunk bed there from a chain bunk bed. So, 4 capacity.
Was for 4.
Yep, for 4.
With 2 adults and 2 children, probably.
Wow. But where did you get the oxygen from?
I think they just piped it from upstairs, from the normal air. I think there's a stack on it someplace right here.
Oh, okay.
And I think maybe it had a filter in it. Was about it.
Hopefully it was you can't filter radiation.
I think
unless it's out. You can't really filter radiation. I mean, you can filter gamma. No, I'm sorry. You can filter alpha and beta particles.
Yeah.
But you can't filter gamma.
No, it ain't.
Yeah.
No.
Hawk smash.
Well, the best thing going back in the 50s and 60s, I guess. That's an early X-ray machine. That's a lot different than the tunnel you go in now.
Yeah. The MRI machine.
Yeah.
So did you know that original MRI machines were actually labeled NMRI? NMRI. So you know what MRI means, right?
Management imaging.
No, magnetic resonant imaging.
Yeah.
The N meant nuclear. They took the N off because people were scared of radiation. So they took the N off. They still had that technology. They just dropped the N. So Just like Washington, you guys had that. If everybody, I guess they stopped it during the Chernobyl meltdown, and it made the Washingtonian government scared, so they stopped it. Billions and billions of dollars built because they already had the 2 nuclear stacks.
Yeah.
Do you know how much your electricity would be right now? $15. $15.
You don't want that. Because you pay tax on your electricity now, don't you? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
If you only paid tax on $15 as opposed to $200 a month, I'll be darned.
Don't do that.
58 Corvette. This is called a Shark's Nose Graham. They only made this a couple of years, 38, 39. And what makes it unique is its appearance, and it's got square headlights. They just weren't big into square headlights back then.
True.
Yeah. Abe Graham. Little Chrysler Airflow, supposed to be aerodynamic.
I guess. Still a heavy car.
Yes.
Is aerodynamic because the front windows can lift up and you could
I think it was aerodynamic because it was supposed to be smooth in the front instead of being abrupt like this.
Oh, where the wind just smacks it.
Right.
Makes sense.
Icebox. Put your ice in the top and your vegetables in the bottom.
A real ice box.
True. Absolutely true. A real icebox.
Guess we're done in this building.
Yeah, I believe we've seen it all.
Yes, sir. These are more like novelty items, like really niche.
This was owned by Elvis Presley.
Oh, Elvis.
Yeah, it's called a rope. Are you?
Oh, there he is.
Hey.
Is this the only one made?
No, I don't think so. I think they made several of them.
Okay.
Beginning of the three-wheelers.
I feel like when we came in here it was a downgrade of the beauties in the other buildings. The Bond Bug.
I think this was made in Canada. I'm not sure.
Look at the wheels on this thing.
Yeah.
Really small. What was this car made for? Just fun?
No, it was
A production car?
yeah, an economy car.
Okay. I can go with that. Economy car. Here's another Nash.
2,200 of them manufactured over 6 years.
U.S. mail.
Oh yeah, I had to have one of those.
1957. What year was you born?
39.
So you actually saw these on the road.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely.
See, I want to live to be that your age because you see evolution right before your eyes.
Started as a Fiat coupe.
This one here?
Yes. And he made a four-door out of it. And then he took a set of 40 Ford front fenders. And then he took a Hudson grill and he made his own hood. And then he put a little Ford 60 in it. And that's what he had. He was a sheet metal worker.
So he made his own car.
Made his own car. Yeah, we just call it our prototype.
And he drove it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was shipped to London, and he drove it all over England, and then he shipped it back home, and he repainted it, and he brought it out here, and we own it.
See, that's what you need in the other building, is that the music, it really brings you inside the time. I like that. I just hit the bumper. So we're gonna need $1,000 to fix that bumper. Ice cream man, ice cream man.
Yay. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid down in California, you would hear those bells for a mile.
So you're from California?
Well, I moved up here when we were 8.
Oh, okay. So what is this, all one contraption?
No. This is Asian. And this is the one the guy sits in and pulls, you know.
Oh, okay. Wow. I guess it is some sort of vehicle.
1,000 miles per gallon.
Why does that car up there has his own showcase?
That's a Steyr. That's made in Austria. 1935. They originally started making sewing machines, and then they migrated into the automobile. And during World War II, you saw a lot of those that were 4 doors that were the German army had. Because where was Hitler from? Austria.
Austria, not Germany.
That's right.
Here we go, Fiat. They've been making small cars since the 60s.
That's a racing model of Fiat. That's a Abarth Bulldog.
Wow.
The King Midget up there, you could buy that from Sears. Next one down was a Crosley. That was called a Hot Shot. That was their version of a racing car.
Wow. So much history, so many cars. Oh, we got to get a good one of this one. The Beetle. Infamous Volkswagen Beetle.
I understand this year is the last year, 2019, that they're making the Beetle.
No. I mean, it's not like people buy them anymore, though. It was an era. And they came out with the new Beetles and a lot of, they call them female cars. And if you call something a female car, then a lot of guys are not going to buy it. That's just how guys are. So.
It's going through the parade and we push the right button, it'll shoot flames out the dragon's mouth, about 30 feet.
Oh, it shoot flames.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can't call it a dragon if it don't have flames.
That's it.
Look at this beautiful car.
Oh, beautiful paint on this.
Oh, that's gorgeous. That looks like a lot of work.
Oh boy.
At first I thought it was a wrap. You know, they do wraps like this.
Oh, this has even got graphics underneath the hood. It's beautiful. This is a car that was built as a tribute towards, what the hell was his name? Alice Cooper.
When you say in tribute, was he still alive or did he die?
He still is alive.
Oh, he still is alive. Oh, but it's made by DeSoto. Okay.
The engine's just so.
Oh, okay.
The rest of it's all crusted.
Chrysler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, DeSoto's Dodge. Made by Chrysler Corporation.
What was he famous for?
He's a kind of a singer-actor.
Oh, okay. Look at that ancient thing.
Oh,
1948.
That was your family car on 48. That was a station wagon.
And this was humongous. The Fleet Master. Wow. Whew. Now this is beautiful.
Yeah, that's a Tucker. $335 cubic inches, aircraft motor. It was converted from air-cooled to water-cooled. These are the kind of the inlet to cool it. It's got its own radiator. 4,200 pounds. Like I say, 335 cubic inches. I think it was only about 180 horsepower.
Only 180 horsepower?
I think it's 166 horsepower.
166 horsepower.
Yep.
Oh, this is the Tucker.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't hear you say that.
Oh, it's the Tucker. See, the doors are cut up into the roof to where you didn't bang your head when you went in.
Nice.
Front seat and the back seat are interchangeable.
So the front seat got messed up, just put it in the back.
That's right.
He did a lot of great things, man.
Wind catcher doors, suicide doors. We call them wind catcher doors.
Winchester?
Wind catcher, yeah.
Wind catcher.
And it was supposed to be the safest car in the world. The windshields popped out when you got into an accident, so you didn't cut your face. Had a collapsible steering wheel.
When you say collapsible steering wheel, does that mean that you can adjust it basically?
And now, if you got into an accident that had an impact, the steering wheel would collapse.
Oh, so you wouldn't.
So you
I understand. I understand.
Now, this is the trunk, and it came with a full set of luggage for the trunk. This is that headlight that turns with the wheels.
Wow.
It was designed by a fellow by the name of Alex Tremelius.
Oh, Tucker is just the one who sponsored it? Or?
Tucker was the manufacturer.
Okay, but he's the one who designed it.
Yes, Alex Tremelius. He also designed things like the Subaru pickup truck that had little seats in the back later on. He worked for Nash. He just designed some cars for Nash. So Alex Tremelius.
Wow.
And this is number 7 of the manufacturer. It was really ahead of its time.
Definitely. I never heard of him. I always just say Tucker, but he's the mastermind behind the name.
Oh, yeah. And I think
Wow.
that's what challenged people. They kept him in court long enough to where he went broke. He didn't lose, he won in court.
But he was broke when he was done.
But he was broke when he was done.
He didn't do a countersuit either.
48 of these. One of them was burned up in a fire. No, they made 50. One of them was burned up in a fire. They don't know about the other 2, and there are 48 of these registered today. They put out a book annually just to the owners, and it tells the location of some of them, but not all of them. But they're all bought as investments.
Definitely. But I don't think LeMay is getting rid of his anytime soon.
I don't think so. Mrs. LeMay is not about to get rid of it. Well, we'll walk into the gym now. There's not much there.
You have that replica of the, is it Lincoln? No, not Lincoln, I'm sorry. Ronald Reagan? The presidential limousine?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
We might have it over at the house. We have another 250 cars over at the house.
Oh my gosh.
And another 1,500 of them stored.
Oh yeah. It used to be in here.
Yeah.
Okay, they moved it. Because you guys have wineries and stuff in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have wine and chocolate here at the...
Yeah, I come to them. I've been to a few of them. Well, I came to them last year.
Yeah. Yes, we'll have it 2 weeks again. This weekend's a gun show. The following weekend is wine and chocolate.
It's a gun show here this weekend. Mm-hmm. Really?
That's the reason we got it all cleaned up.
When is the gun show?
Saturday and Sunday. Or no, Friday and Saturday, I believe.
What's the admission? Well, how much is the admission?
Couldn't be any more than $8 or $10.
Okay, and they are selling guns?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
So
you bet.
He's not talking about the gun show.
This is all, again, because we're a history museum, gas pumps, oil pumps, tires, all of the things that related to it.
Because everywhere you look is history.
Oh yeah, every place.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what makes us different.
DeLorean.
DeLorean, John DeLorean, the designer of the GTO. This is a cutaway of a 36 Ford. And what the shop did was they cut in half, or what the manufacturer did was they cut in half so you could see all the function of all the gears. This was actually produced by Ford.
What's this white vehicle over here with the...
That's Sammy Davis Jr.'s car.
Sammy Davis Jr. How did it get in here?
We bought it.
Well...
We don't steal.
No.
No, that was given to him as a gift by one of the people that he worked with. And it's actually a 1974 Pontiac, and they sent them over to Italy, and they modify them to look like this. See, it's got side pipes on it, it's got a sunroof in it, it's got some special features in it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a 1972, I said 74 Pontiac, that's wrong, 72 Pontiac. And the one on the other side, that's a Chrysler, and that was owned by, the fourth guy in that quartet.
Talking about the Rat Pack.
Yes.
Yeah, the only one.
Peter Lawford.
Peter Lawford.
Peter Lawford.
Peter Lawford. Who's that up there on the TV screen up there, talking?
Oh, that's one of the guys that works here.
Oh, okay.
This was built by Jesse James, Monster Garage. It's a parade float.
Oh, I know, yeah. He, no, I thought it was Monkey Garage, Garage Monkey, something like that. No?
Garage Monkey's a different one. That's Robert, what his name is.
So I take it you watch a lot of car shows?
Oh, quite a few.
Okay.
That's a Franklin, air-cooled. '17 Cadillac, beautiful car. Beautiful.
Now, out of all the vehicles, this have been made since the dawn of time, if you had to name two things that you wanted to keep in a car that they take out or change, what would you think would be it?
Oh, probably the radio, because I like to listen to music.
Okay.
And for modern day cars, heated seats.
Heated seats?
We were talking about this at lunch the other day. That if you could have anything in every car you wanted, what would it be? Well, the first thing would be heated seats.
So my car has heated seats.
Oh, yeah.
And they have cool seats.
Yeah, my wife has a Lexus.
Oh, okay. Oh, look at you. You spoiling your wife, huh?
Absolutely.
And let me ask you, what do you drive then?
an '09 Chevrolet pickup.
See, the woman always had the nice car, and the man, you have the functional car.
I like my pickup.
I know you do.
I
know you do. But do you drive the Lexus sometimes?
I don't like it because it's got too many buttons in it.
Come on. We looked at all those cars. They had a lot of buttons in it.
Yeah, but hers, everything is controlled by a button, not a knob,
or a dial.
You don't pull anything. Yeah, none of that sort of stuff.
She likes it though, right?
Oh, God, loves it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, this is the second one she's had. So, this is the same model, that 308 Ferrari. That what was the name of that? What was his name? Tom Selleck.
Oh, Tom Selleck, yeah.
Yeah, he drove a 308 Ferrari.
Okay.
In that series. He's in Blue Bloods now.
Oh yeah, I know. I watched Blue Bloods.
I do too.
Yeah, I know that Tom Selleck, old school. He used to, I guess at one point he was like the world's sexiest man or close to it or something.
Like that, I reckon.
Wait a minute, what's the vehicle he used to drive inside the show? Another show? Was it a Firebird? No. A T-top?
I don't remember. This is a T-top here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah, I'm just glancing at them.
British up there. Probably, I would say about maybe 6%, maybe 7% of what we have is not American made.
So 60% of vehicles you have are not American made?
6%.
6% are not American made?
Probably not American made.
But I will say this, when I was looking at some of the guys' names that made these vehicles, they were like Italian or German.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, most Americans are immigrants.
Just about all of them.
Yeah.
My great-grandparents were immigrants.
So, yeah, you could say they're American, but...
They were, well... I'm an American because I was born in America.
Yeah.
But my grandparents all came from either Germany or Wales.
Okay.
Well, everything starts with migration.
Yes.
I believe.
Especially for this country.
Sure. Absolutely. That's a Chrysler, early Chrysler, Imperial.
I feel like this car here was in some gangster movies.
Well, you know, that was a very nice car. That's a Pierce Arrow, and you can always tell a Pierce Arrow because the headlight is cast into the fender. Nobody else could do that because they had a patent on it. Pierce Arrow was the
bastards. I think when you do certain patents where you don't want you don't release the patent for public use, you stop innovation.
Well, they certainly did here. They certainly did here, because until 1938, nobody else could use it.
That's crazy.
Here's a Stutz. Oh, this is like that sedan we saw down there, that Stutz Boattail Speedster. That's a Stutz Roadster.
See? Gangster. Another gangster car.
Well, that's just a standard old Chevrolet, so that was the cheap gangster.
That was a cheap gangster?
He couldn't afford a Cadillac or a Buick.
Got the gun in his hand?
Oh, yeah.
Man. Now what? Ooh.
That's a Citroen.
Citroen.
That's French. Now this car will raise itself or lower itself.
Oh, hydraulically or mechanically?
Hydraulics.
Okay. Okay.
Citroen, very expensive French car. Nice car. 71 Jag, V12. I always liked them. I like the Roadster better, but they're nice. I have a friend who has one of these. Beautiful car.
Is that a whole car or half a car up there?
That's about a quarter of a car.
A quarter of a car?
Yeah, no, sorry.
Wow.
Bunch of crazy man motorcycles.
I see.
I'm not into motorcycles.
Now, what's up with this one though? Brooks Motorworks.
Oh, that was a racer.
The past is not what it used to be.
Guy stands on this right here and they race around the oval track.
Uh-huh. Why he's...
Well, he's standing there.
What is he holding on to?
All the hope in the world, I guess.
No, come on.
No, just this or whatever. Well, they race those that way.
It's made by BMW?
Yes.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah, they race a lot of those. Well, this right here is called the Red Slipper. This was in several.
Well, I do declare.
It was in several movies and it's been in several books.
It's called the Red Slipper.
Yeah, it was made out of a guy here in Tacoma made it. His name is Richard Crow.
Stilettos. And it's actually been driven.
Oh, sure. And his girlfriend sat up there, and he was down here. It was made from a 350 Honda motorcycle.
Ah, there's an ingenuity behind it.
I think it's pretty clever.
It is. I mean, you would definitely get pulled over.
Absolutely.
And what year was this built?
1990.
Oh, okay.
We get a lot of requests for people who want to use this for
weddings?
For wedding or.
And you have to say no.
Yes, we do. It's the only one made. We wouldn't dare lose it. We'd never.
Somebody will argue that there's always a price on something.
There's not.
$1 billion?
No.
$1 billion.
Nah, not for us.
Okay.
Nope.
I like it. So there's not a price for everything. I understand.
Nope, not for these people here.
There's something more important than money here.
For them it is.
Yeah. That makes sense. See, someone left their kid in the back.
Again, that's that R-E-O, Ransom E. Oldsmobile. That's her keeper. This was manufactured by a fellow by the name of Dallas Dort, because it is called a Dort. He was later on bought out by someone else.
American made as well?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
How is these guys making these in their garages?
No, little machine shop. Well, some of them in their garages, as best as they could. Some of them were made up of parts of other cars. Some of them were made up of a blacksmith hammering out a fender.
I definitely thank you for your time, sir. This has been a marvel, an amazing tour.